Oh God, yeah. So let's go. Apparently, Max Blumenthal is dipping his toes in the world of comedy, probably inspired by his good homie Jimmy Dore, of course.
Every Nepo baby becomes a comic at least one point in their life.
Let's take a look and review Mr. Blumenthal's material.
And I would have liked to have known AOC when she was just an ambitious, smart young girl from White Plains named Sandy before she transitioned to Latinx. You know, she's so angry now, and there's like.
Also, I don't even get the joke. Like, AOC has always been Latina. What do you mean transitioned to Latinx? That doesn't even make sense.
Oh boy, it's so funny. We're about to actually be joined by a good friend of the show, Afeni Evans. What's up, Afeni? I got your face. You came in right at the perfect time because as soon as Gavin played this clip, I just get to watch your reaction to like trying to follow along to what he's saying and being so confused. So sorry to just cannonball you right onto the show today. How you doing? But anyway, I wanted everybody to see your reaction because that was killing me backstage.
First of all, I don't know the full context. I just heard the one part, but exactly what does he mean by that? Because she was born as a Latinx person, so I'm just, what do you mean by that? I'm confused. There's no way to really perform your ethnicity and race.
And I would have liked to have known AOC when she was just an ambitious, smart young girl from White Plains named Sandy before she transitioned to Latinx. You know, she's so angry now, and there's like a discarded box of Franzia behind her. She's screaming it into Instagram.
Also, unfortunately, that's also completely inaccurate. AOC never really gets that angry. I kind of wish she got more angry. She seems like very subdued, very polite these days. So I don't even know what Max is talking about once again.
Yeah, I mean, I really want all of our white comrades to be very cognizant of the words that they use when they're describing Black women, women of color, because AOC is a very, like you're saying, like a very mild-tempered person. Like I've been in space with Alex. I've seen her a couple of times now, and she's never really like aggressive. You know, like I'm aggressive. So if somebody calls me aggressive, that's an accurate perception. But I just think that some of that stuff is still rooted in racism, microaggressions, and all that good stuff.
They're like, you fascists. I don't really have a punchline there. I just, wanted to say that.
No shit, pal.
Know her just like I knew Chris Hayes before he was an anti-Russian male lesbian. And what Jimmy Dore is doing is bringing people together, and I want to continue to.
It immediately goes to crowd pandering.
Iraq, WMDs, Saddam, Al-Qaeda, Russiagate, the Syrian chemical attacks, and then the COVID event was the big one, because that's when all of the left-wing critics, the most trenchant critics of our system, turned into hyper-obedient authoritarian enforcers of the biomedical security state and big pharma. I lost so many friends over that shit.
This isn't comedy.
I lost so many friends. And, it was my socialist friends were so into the vax. They all wanted to take like the Chinese vax.
He has to go to racism to get a laugh. This is so this is embarrassing as fuck. This is ridiculous.
One of them took the Chinese Sinovac so many times they started transmitting 5G signals from Huawei.
Holy shit! This is just like One American News Network level fucking bigoted pretending to be comedy. This is like Roseanne Barr looks like a comedic genius next to this. This is insanity.
I don't know. I've met Mac a couple times, so I'm not about to sit up here and ascribe labels to him because I know how much he does not like that. But one thing I have noticed about Max and about like just really anybody that's kind of like white and on that like really like super class solidarity while missing like the racial part, the part that of class solidarity that we're trying to bring in, marginalized groups, people of different sexes, races, and all that good stuff. How do I say this?
It's because they're self-serving racists. You're trying to say, because that's what it comes across as to me. Like, I don't know any of these people. I can call him like a coke snorting Nepo baby who can't do comedy if I want to, because that's fucking true. He came on my podcast and he was ripped on fucking coke, because I know what a cokehead looks like. I work as a fucking bartender. Okay, I'm just saying, like, I don't fucking care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's his business. He has a trust fund. He can burn through an 8-ball a day by the looks of his fucking shit. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, he's out here. He's taking pot shots at fucking people because of their race. He's calling it a China virus. He's saying that if you take it, you're gonna fucking off-put signals from Huawei. What are you doing if not pandering to the worst elements of the right wing right there? And if you're gonna do that for a little bit of applause in like a shitty room called Magooby's Joke House, what are you gonna do if you ever get a real platform? It's just the offshoot of the narcissistic personality disorder. He wants a taste of the adulation that Jimmy Dore gets. And what does Jimmy Dore get? He goes in there and he makes jokes that he thinks his audience are gonna like clap like seals for, right? Oh, bring up weapons of mass destruction and all those other words that you've triggered them to like be buzzwords. Jimmy was right about everything. What was Jimmy doing in 2003? Being a washed up schmuck. Okay, he was not out here opposing the war. Okay, where's Jimmy been in the SAG-AFTRA strikes? Where's Jimmy been using his clout for good? He hasn't, right? He's in it for the adulation of right-wingers who all think that Hollywood is corrupt elitists and that we shouldn't even stand with the WGA. Max Blumenthal was out here talking about how the WGA was full of like liberal elitists that drove us against each other and all that kind of stuff. Why should I be sad that they can't write for WandaVision? Like, that's his class solidarity above everything. No, he just wants to be self-serving and a white supremacist. Like, I swear to God.
Well, can I spill some tea real quick that I think explains where some of this class reductionism comes from? Because Afeni, I'm sure you have seen this because you've organized too, right? Like, I'll get into these organizations and I'll get into talking about generational poverty versus generational wealth. Generational poverty versus generational wealth, once you add racism and colorism to that dichotomy, once you add Appalachian struggle to that dichotomy, once you add the struggles of Native Americans and indigenous peoples to that dichotomy. But a lot of these people don't want to talk about that dichotomy because they're from privilege. Max Blumenthal, and this isn't an ad hominem. I'm not trying to say that, the sins of the fathers onto the son, but I am going to be honest. Richard Medhurst, both of his parents were in the Peace Corps. They won awards. He was part of the DC Beltway his entire life. Aaron Mate, his dad was a famous psychologist that treated people and wrote books in the DC Beltway. Even Lee Camp, which there's a lot Lee does that I like, but his mom was a federal judge in Bethesda. Kim Iverson is from privilege, and she is now being funded by Birch Gold. So I keep looking at these people that we are propping up as the quote unquote leaders in our organizing circles and the pundits that we go and we listen to and we look at. And almost all of them are from DC Beltway privilege. They all went to high school together. Most of them knew Nick Brock because he's from, my dogs. He's from.
They're sounding off. You've moved them.
Yeah, I know. And he's from privilege. So all of these people, that's what I found over and over again.
See, that's why Gavin and I have our bases covered. Like, there's nothing for you to find about us.
Yeah, I got one more little cherry on top for you guys. Just the final joke. I think you guys are going to like this one too.
I'm Jewish, by the way. I identify as Jewish. My pronouns are self-hate.
So yeah, Jewish people are self-hating, and pronouns, huh? Aren't those crazy?
Like they haven't existed in English the entire time. Like if maybe, if they didn't come and colonize us, we wouldn't have these pronouns. You feel me? But here we are speaking the King's English because we have to, which means that pronouns exist. Period. Like, I just don't understand why it's such an issue that pronouns exist.
If you're writing a joke and it's about pronouns, if pronouns come up in your joke, then just start from scratch. Start your fucking joke over.